Hello my dear students, welcome back. What a joy to see you back. Well, how was the quiz? Good, I'm so happy to hear this. You know why? It's so easy because of you. Because you're the best. And you're doing your best and you're giving your best because you belong to the best. Alright my dear students, in this sub lesson we're going to talk about finding midpoints. Alright, now when I say midpoints, what is midpoints? When I give you 2 points in a coordinate system, and when you draw a straight line and you're finding the center, your center of that 2 points. Alright, let's say for example, okay, for Mr. Mac to give you one straight line like this. Alright, let's say this is point A and this is point B, and if I want to find the midpoint, that means it's halfway, exactly halfway, so it's going to be right center. Okay, so that means this distance and this distance is going to be what? Same. If this is, let's say, x, this is also x. If this is a, this is also a. That means if this is 3, this is also 3. This is 6, this is 6. That's what the midpoint does. It divides that line AB into 2 equal lengths. So now we're going to learn how to find midpoints in a coordinate system. Alright, so let's do that. Let's say for example, Mr. Mac to give you 2 points. Alright, let's say for example, first here we got the Cartesian plane. Alright, let's label them. Alright, we know we got a y-axis, x-axis. Alright, and this is going to be our origin, which is the 0. And then when you go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you go to the left, exactly, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. When you go up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you go down, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and -6. Okay. Alright, so let Mr. Mac give you a point. Okay, let's say I say point A is -3, 4, and point B is -3, -2. Alright, we want to find the midpoint between point A and B. So what do we have to do? First, let's plot them. Alright, let's do it. Let's take point A first, okay? The coordinate for point A is -3, 4. So first we have to do what? The reference point, which is our origin, okay? That's going to be our starting point. Alright, we can put our pencil or pen or chalk right there, and then -3, which is the x. That means negative means you go to the left. How many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. See that? And then that 4 means that's y. Which direction do I go? Up, because it's a positive. How many times? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. That's point A. Alright? Now we want to find point B. So again, we're back to the reference point, the origin. That means -3. That means what? You go to the left. How many times? 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Why is that to the left? Because that's the x coordinate. See that? So now we're going to go to the y coordinate, which is what? -2. That means what? Down. Down by how many times? 2 times. 1, 2 right there. That's your B. Okay? So now this is the length from A to B. Alright? This is the A to B line. Alright? And we want to find the center. The center of the A to B. Alright? That's what called midpoint. So now if I to use just a regular way, just rough, like counting, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how many? What's the length of AB? It's 6 units. Alright, now to find the midpoint, what do? I take 6 divided by 2. See that? If this is 6, if I should divide this by 2, should give me 3 and 3. See what I'm saying? So that means this is 3 and this is 3. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide the 6 by 2, gives me 3. So that means 1, 2, 3. Right there. That's the center point right there. The midpoint. See that? Okay? So that's the midpoint right there. Alright? So what is the midpoint? The midpoint is, now let's find the point. So it's -3, 1. See, that's always what? You start with, let's just say M. M is, you always start with X, Y. Alright? So what is X? X is -3 and Y is 1. See that? -3, 1. That's the midpoint. Okay? This coordinate and that coordinate for A and B, they both are identical. Alright? The one is different is the Y coordinate. So when the x is identical and the y is different from our previous lesson, we know what type of line it's going to be. It's a vertical line. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let's say now you know this is a vertical line. All right, okay, I just want to put this down. Let me write that out. Okay, it's a vertical line. Okay, all right, let's do another one. Okay, so this time I want to give you the horizontal line. All right, so we did the vertical, now horizontal. Let's do r. Let's say r is, let's say this time. Now in order to make horizontal, who has to be identical? The y is going to be identical. So it's the x is the one that's going to change. Okay, so let's say Mr. Mac to give you 4 and then -1. S is -2, -1. All right, so let's plot that. Let's plot with r first. Okay, so let's locate r. 4. So what do we have first step ought to be? Boom, the center, the reference point, which would be the origin. Okay, 0, 0. So 4 is positive. That means I'm going to the right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because this is x coordinate. See that? And then -1, which means what? Going down by 1. See that? So that's my r. Okay, that's my r. And then -2. Okay, so we're going to start like the origin for s, -2, -1. All right, so -2, which way is that? Exactly, 1, 2, right there. All right, okay, and then -1, which way is that? Down. And that's my s. See that? So rs. So we're going to combine that. So let's combine that. rs. Now if I have to find the center of this line, all right, what do? Same thing. All right, we find the length, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, see that? 6. If a center, that means I'm dividing the 6 by 2, give me 3 and 3. That means 1, 2, 3 right there. That's the center. So that point is what? Okay, you always start with x and then y. All right, so that means x is 1, y is -1. All right, so that's the center. All right, now look at that. For vertical and horizontal, it's pretty easy, isn't it, to find the center point? Okay, the midpoint. Okay, pretty much what we did, we kind of count and then we divide that by into 2. Okay, we count the length and then we divide that by 2. So this method only applies when you have a vertical and a horizontal. Okay, horizontal lines. All right, so such a way, this is a vertical, you take the length by counting how many units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you divide that by 2, which you give it 3, and you count it 1, 2, 3. That's your center. And same thing with the horizontal. All right, you count how many what's the length is and how many unit it is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You divide that by 2 and you get 3, and then you count it 1, 2, 3 right there. Now once the line is not horizontal or vertical, which means it's slanted or diagonal, then it got to be a different way. But before we do that, let's do one more problem. Okay, one more problem finding the midpoint. All right, let's pick a vertical line. All right, let's do that. Let's say Mr. Mac to give you a point, let's say this time is m. I give you m is 2, and then let's say -5. All right, and then n is 2, and then I give you is 3, and I want to find the midpoint, the midpoint of line mn. So what's our first step? Plot them. Okay, plot them, very important. Okay, let's take point m, let's plot them. All right, so you got 2, -5. So the coordinate is 2, -5. 2 is positive, which is that's for x. Okay, that means we start at the center point, which is the origin. Always you start at the origin and then move to the right. Why right? Because it's positive. How many times do I move to the right? 2 times. Why? Because 2. All right, so 1, 2, and then I go to the next level, will be the y coordinates, which will be the -5. Negative means what? You go down. How many times? 5 times. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look back here, it shows -5. See that? So pretty much right there, that's your m point. Okay, so now we want to locate n point. So what's n? 2. again, you always start at the origin and you go to the right by 2, 1, 2, and then up by 3. Why up by 3? Because y is positive 3. See that? So always y, you go up or down. If it's a positive, you go up. If negative, you go down. If x, you go right or left. If it's a positive, you go right. Negative, you go left. Okay? So 1, 2, which is 2 for the x, and then 3 up. 1, 2, 3. That's your endpoint. Okay, well, always let's use capital whenever we labeling the points. You want to use capital letters. All right, so let's do this one, N right there. So now let's join these 2 points. Let's join these 2 points, and that's the length, that's the distance from N to M, M to N. So now let's count how many units are there. All right, the length of it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now that's one way of counting. Or what we can do, take the difference of the one that differs. Okay, in this case the y is the one that differs. All right, okay, the y coordinate. So that means take the big numbers subtracted by the small number. Okay, we take the difference. All right, so we know mn equals to 3 minus negative 5. Because why negative 3 minus negative 5? Because we're taking the difference between these 2 numbers. We always said what from the previous lesson? You take the big number, subtract by the small number. 3 is bigger than negative 3. See that? So that's why Mr. Beck put 3 minus negative 5. Negative negative is what? Positive. Okay? So negative negative is positive. So 3 plus 5 is 8. So the distance of mn is 8. Now we divide that 8 by 2 to find the midpoint. See that? Why divide that by 2? Because in order to find the midpoint, I have to break that length into 2 parts, equal length parts. That's why I'm dividing 8 by 2. That gives me what? 4. So we know 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay? So that means, look at that, 4 and 4. And that's the midpoint right there. Alright, so that means I'm going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. That's the midpoint. So now you should be able to find the coordinate for that. How do we do that? Always start with x, which is where is it touching x axis? Like 2. Where is touching y axis? Like negative 1. That means this point is what? 2, negative 1. See that? 2, negative 1. So the midpoint for mn is 2, negative 1. It's very important. All right, so keep in mind. So it only applies for vertical and horizontal line. All right, when you get 2 and 2, when the coordinate are, the x coordinates or the y coordinates are identical. All right, so for the 2 points, then you can use this method. So what happens if they're not identical? That's what we're going to learn next. Alright? Okay, good. Let Mr. Beck erase the board and we'll learn that part of it. Alright? And I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear student. Okay, Mr. Mac got the condition plain on the board. Now, first thing always keep in mind is the scaling of the axis. Alright? So let's make sure. In this case, we're going to scale 1 to 1. Alright, that means what? Each line represent 1. So in other words, this is your center, which is 0, 0, which is origin, and then means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See that? If I to say scale, let's say x-axis, okay, if Mr. Mac to put x-axis, let's say 1 to 1, and then y-axis also 1 to 1. That means each box represent 1 unit. And then the next will be 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit. Okay, so make sure, if they didn't label it, you label it. All right, based on the scale that was given. Usually they'll label it. All right, keep in mind. All right, so this one's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when it goes down, it will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. When you go to the left on the x-axis, it will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And if you go right, it will be positive, and if you go up, it will be positive. All right, keep in mind. All right, now we're going to find the midpoint of 2 points. When I join the 2 points, but they're not going to be vertical or horizontal. It's going to be slanted. It's going to be diagonal. Okay, so now let's Mr. Back to give you 2 points. All right, so the point A, let's say point A coordinate is -4, 3, and point B is, let's say 2, negative 5. And I want you to find the midpoint of this point AB. Alright? So midpoint of this line, the joint of the point A and point B. So in order to find the midpoint, what do we have to do first? Exactly, we've got to plot them on the Cartesian plane. Alright, let's do that. Let's take point A. Point A is negative 4, 3. That this is X and this is Y. That means 4. We're going to take it on the X-axis. The negative is going to tell us the direction. The 4 is the number of units we're going to move. Alright? So starting with the origin. Okay, right there. And then we're going to move it to the left. Why left? Because it's negative. How many times? 4 times on the X-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then 3. Okay, because 3 is in the Y-axis. Okay, we're going to go to the Y-axis direction. So how many times? 3 times. Which direction? Up. Why up? Because positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Right there. That's our A point. Okay, we're going to put an A. Now let's look at B point. B is what? 2. The coordinate for B is 2, negative 5. The 2 is the X. The negative 5 is the Y. 2. So where we start? Boom, right there. All right, right on the center, the origin. All right, origin. We always use origin as a reference way to move the direction of the coordinate. Okay, so 2 is the X on the X-axis. All right, how many times? Twice. 1, 2 to the right because it's positive. Negative 5, which direction? Down. How many times? 5 times. Okay, because that's for the Y. All right, so that means along the Y-axis direction. Okay, so 5 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the point B. Okay, okay, now we want to join point A to point B. Okay, let's use a straight edge. Okay, Mr. Mac got a straight edge here. I'm going to join point A to point B. All right, so let's put a straight edge right there. And then we're going to put a straight line combining those 2 lines. All right, the 2 points. So let's see that right there. Okay, good. All right, so right there. So we're going to combine those 2 points right there. Okay, so now we want to find the midpoints of A, B. Can you see there's no way for us to find the midpoints by using the way we did with the vertical and horizontal line. Okay, remember? Let's see if Mr. Mac to put a vertical line. Let's say Mr. Mac to put a vertical line right here. Let's say right here, okay? If I have these 2 points, if I want to find the center or midpoint of that line, what do? I count 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that is a nice even length. Okay, even distance. All right, so that means I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. I divide that by 2, which gives me 2. That means 1, 2 right there. That's the center. See that when it's vertical, and same thing with horizontal. But now it's no longer vertical or horizontal. It's diagonal. So there's no way for me to count how many, okay, and divide. So we got to find a different way of locating the center point of this line. Okay, how do we do that? All right, what we do is we do the same thing we did with the previous lesson, finding the distance. The distance, what we did, we put a straight vertical line from this point down and horizontal line from this point where it meets right there. Okay, so this is going to be the point where it meets. All right, once it does that, we want to find the center of this line and the center of this line. In other words, the center of this vertical distance and the center of and the horizontal distance. Okay, let's do that. So since it's a vertical, we know how to do that. How do we do? So we count. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, so that means we know the center of this vertical line is 4. That means midpoint. Okay, the midpoint of this vertical line is, it's divides it into 4 and 4. All right, that means I'm going to count 4 from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the midpoint for that line. All right, okay, now let's find the midpoint for this one. Again, we're going to count what's the total distance. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We take the 6, we divide that by 2, which give me what? 3. So I count from here to 3. 1, 2, 3. That means that's my center point or midpoint from this point to that. So now, once I locate the midpoint for the vertical and the horizontal, I'm going to move towards this line, horizontal and vertical. Okay, I'm going to move this line, this point right there. It touches right there. and then I'm going to move this one vertical, touches right there. That's your midpoint. That's the midpoint for AB. So what's the point for that one? So we start with that. So we know this is -1 and this is -1. So see that for x is -1, -1. Y is -1. See that? So x is -1, y is -1. So this point is -1, -1. That's the center point or midpoint for AB. That's the midpoint for AB. Pretty easy, isn't it? So the key is what? Once you plot the 2 points, you join them. Okay, you join the straight line, and then what do? There's no way for us to count like we did with the vertical horizontal line to find the midpoint by dividing it by finding the length. See that? So to find the midpoint, you draw a vertical line straight down and a horizontal line where it meets. Okay, once it meets, use that distance of the vertical line and divide that by 2, which is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the distance from here to there, which is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That locates the midpoint for the vertical line. Alright, right there. You already know that. Okay, now we're going to locate the midpoint for the horizontal line. Alright, we find the distance first. How many units is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In order to find the midpoint for this horizontal line, we take the 6, divide that by 2, which will give you 3. So now I count 3, or from this direction or that direction, doesn't matter, because both will give me 3 and 3. See that? So 1, 2, 3, right there. So now we want to locate the midpoint for A to B. So that means I move this line horizontal and move this line to vertical. Where it meets, that's the center point. That's the midpoint for the AB. Alright? Does that make sense? Let's do another one. Okay, let's do another one. Okay. Let's say this time R, 3, 3, and then S, -1, -1. We want to find the midpoint for the line RS, for the 2 points RS. We want to see what's the midpoint for RS. Alright, what do? We plot it, okay? So let's take point R. So we're going to take point R and plot the coordinates. So 3, 3. That means we go to the, exactly, this is our reference point, always the origin, okay? So we move 3 to the right and 3 to the up. That's the R right there, okay? See that? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 right there, okay? Then for S, -1, -1. That means this is my reference point. This is my reference point. I go left by 1, down by 1. See that? Because -1, -1. Okay, so that's going to be my S point. Okay? So that's my S. Now I'm going to combine those two. Okay, let's do that. Let's combine that using a straight edge. Alright. Okay, right there. Okay, so now I want to find the midpoint of this SRS. So what do? Very good. What do? We take this point right there, put a straight vertical line down, bring it down, just straight down, and then from this point put a horizontal line and look for the way it intercept. You intercept right there. See that? It intercepts right there. So now, once this is the intercept, so we're going to find the distance from R to this point. Okay, and then find the midpoint of that. First we want to find the distance, which is what? 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 4 divided by 2 will give me the distance from R to the midpoint. See that? Because 4 divided by 2 is what? 2. 1, 2, right there. That's the midpoint. 1, 2. See that? Same length. They both gives me the same length. Alright? Same distance. Alright? So that means that's my center point right there. Okay? So we're going to put that one right there. Alright? Now let's go to this one. From this to that, we want to find the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. In order to find the midpoint from S to that point, what do? Take 4 divided by 2, because we are dividing into 2 parts, equal parts. That means 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1, 2. See that? 1, 2. So right there. That's the center point or midpoint for S to that point. See? And they both have same length. 2, 2. 2. Now I want to locate the midpoint for RS. That means what? I move vertical up and horizontal towards the line right there. That's the center point or midpoint, okay, for RS. Right there. Pretty easy, isn't it? Okay, good. So now we know that's the midpoint for RS. Alright, so now let's find the coordinate for that. So how do we find the coordinate? If this is the point, this is the point that we're looking for coordinate, you always go vertical down towards the x-axis. Okay, you want to find either you're going up or down, see which touches to the x-axis. In this case you want to go down, so it touches the x-axis, which touches on 1. So that means we know this is going to be 1, and then we want to go to the exactly horizontal side of it, so that it touches the y-axis, which also touches 1. So 1, 1. All right, so that's the coordinate 1, 1. Okay, so that's the midpoint for RS is 1, 1. All right, let's do another one. Okay, let's say Mr. Mac pick a couple points. Okay, let's say Mr. Mac said, let's say this point here M, and then this point here is N. All right, first let's label that 2 points. Okay, so the coordinate for M it would be, let's see, always start with the X, all right, which is -3, and Y is 4. All right, okay, to label this point, coordinates would be what? You take that whole okay, actually pinpoint that point and then straight down to the x-axis. All right, vertical down. All right, vertical down, and it touches like -3 of the x-axis. That means -3, and then you go horizontal to the y-axis, which is 4. See that? Okay, then what about this one right here? What do you do again? Vertical down to x-axis, which is 5. Okay, 5, and then horizontal to y-axis, which is 2. And that's the coordinate for M and N. We want to find the midpoint for M to N. So what's our first step? Very good. Join those 2 points. All right, now if I give you in a form of coordinates like this, points like this, plot them first. In this case I already given you the points. All right, then if I ask you to find the midpoint, you join them. All right, if I give it this way, you plot them and then you join those 2 points. All right, so let's do that. Let's join those 2 points. Okay, so let's take a straight edge and then let's, okay, let me make sure line them up right. All right, and then I'm just going to draw a nice straight line. There we go. Okay, so now we want to find the midpoint for that line, for line MN. In order to find the midpoint, I have to do what? Of course, I have to create a triangle out of that. Okay, now why I have to do a triangle? Because this is not a vertical or horizontal. If it's a vertical or horizontal, we can easily take the distance and then divide that by 2, we can locate it. But this one is diagonal, so I have to create a triangle. Okay, so how do we do that? We take this point and go down, and then that point to the left. See that? So it forms a triangle right there. It's a right angle triangle. Once you've done that, now find the midpoint of the vertical and the midpoint of the horizontal. So let's do that. So what's the midpoint for the vertical? From this M to this point right there, the point of intercept between these 2 lines. Okay, we take the distance of this first. 1, 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. That means this is right there. Okay, this is our midpoint for the vertical line. Now we want to find the midpoint of the horizontal line. So that means we got to find the distance first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. All right, so we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. Okay, that's going to be the midpoint for the horizontal. So now we want to move these 2 points toward this line. So move this one vertical, move this line horizontal, move this line vertical. See that? It touches right there. Okay, that's the center point or midpoint for MN. That's the midpoint for MN. Okay, so the midpoint is right there, which is what? You always go back and refer to the x-axis, which is 1, and then go to the y-axis, which is 3. So 1, 3. And the midpoint for MN is 1, 3. Alright, so always be careful, okay? Go down to x-axis, which is right there, okay? Which is touches like 1, and then y-axis touches like 3, right there, 1, 3. That's the midpoint for MN. How was it? Pretty good, isn't it? Alright, good. Well, let Mr. Mac erase the board, and guess what? I think we should be ready for hands-on practice, okay? Alright, that should give you a better practice, okay? So let's do that. Okay, let Mr. Mac erase the board, and we'll call Pablo out. But before that, let's see what he's doing, alright? Oh yes, Pablo. He's really putting the worksheet together. Alright, give Mr. Mac a few seconds and I'll be back and we'll call Pablo and we'll have fun with the hands-on practice. I'll be back in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, are you ready for some hands-on practice? And I know you are. Alright, let's call Pablo out, okay? Pablo. Oh dear Pablo, come on over Pablo, bring it over the worksheet. Our dear students are ready for some hands-on practice. Alright, my dear students, Pablo's going to hand over the worksheet. Once you receive it, be sure to pause the video and then have fun with it and then come back, invite Mr. Mac in so we can work together. Here it is, have fun. Alright, good. Alright, let's do it together, okay? The first one, find the coordinates of the midpoint, okay? So you're given 4 points, alright? Let's do that. Alright, let's do the first one, okay? 1A. So 1A, the given point for A, point A is 2, -3, and point B is 2, 5. Okay, let's plot them. Alright, so the best thing to do is plot them. So let's do the A point. So 2, -3. Now before we plot them, look at the Cartesian plane that I was given. There's no scale to it. Let's put the scale to it. Alright, now look at the scan through the question. All of them are in the range of 1 and 5, alright? So that means we want to keep it to 1-to-1 scale. So that way we can fit in all those points in there. So we're going to put the center point, which is the origin, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright? Okay, and then we're going to go to the y-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to go to the x-axis on the left hand side, which will be what? Negative numbers, alright? -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And then y-axis, when you go down, will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. See that? So this is your origin, always the center. When you go down on y-axis is negative, and you go up on y-axis is positive. When you go right on x-axis is positive, and you go left on the x-axis is negative. Okay, so that's pretty much easy. You know that, all right? Okay, good. Now let's plot them. A, 2, -3. 2 is the x. So we locate the center point, the origin as our reference point. We're going to go right 2. -3 means exactly down 3. All right? So that's the A. All right? That's our A point. Okay? Because this is x and this is y. All right? Now we're going to locate the B. B is 2, 5. All right? So we're going to start at the origin, 2 to the right and 5 to the up, right there. Okay? And that's the B. And we want to find the midpoint. Now, nice thing about this is what? It's a vertical line. So that means what? We can find the distance from A to B. All right? So let's get the straight edge and then draw a straight line. All right? So we're going to find the midpoint from A to B. So for a vertical line, to find the midpoint, it's very easy. All we got to do what? Find the distance. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Once we find the distance, we divide that by what? By 2. Because we want to find the equal distance by dividing 2. So we know 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your midpoint right there. Alright? Because if you count from bottom also, 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? 4 and 4, same distance. Alright? So that's your midpoint. So what's the point right now? So you straight come down to the x-axis, which is 2. It touches the 2 on x-axis, and you go this way to the y-axis and see where it touches 1. So the midpoint for AB is 2, 1. Alright? So it's 2, 1. That's the midpoint. Okay? Alright, let's do B. Now B, you're given point B is C is negative 4, 3, and D is 2, 3. Alright, so let's plot that. Okay, so let's plot C first, point C. The coordinates negative 4, 3. Reference point, negative 4, that means that's for X. We go to the left by how many times? 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3, we go up by 3. Okay, that's Y. 1, 2, 3, right there. And that's a C. See that? X and Y. Y, 3 up. Alright, left by 4, 3 up. Alright, then we're going to plot D. So D, so it's 2, 3. Again, the reference point is the origin. 2, 1, 2 to the right, and 3 up. 1, 2, 3, right there. And that's the D. And then we're going to combine, we're going to join the C and D. That's the straight line right there. And we want to find the midpoint for CD. And it's a horizontal line. It's pretty easy, isn't it? We're just going to find the distance and then divide that by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 2, it's 3. 1, 2, 3, right there. See, I can count either way. 1, 2, 3. See that? Both will give me same length. Alright, same distance. So that's my midpoint. So what's the point? What's the coordinate for that? Let's bring straight down to see x-axis, negative 1. Alright, negative 1. And then go this way to the y-axis, 3. So negative 1, 3. Alright, that's the midpoint for CD. Okay, good. Let's do problem C. Alright, C, okay, let's write down the midpoint M on this one is, let's say this is 1, this is 2, it's negative 1, 3. Okay, that should be your answer. Alright, let's do E. C. E point is negative 3, 5, and F is 1, negative 5. Okay, so let's plot them. So let's first find E. Point E, negative 3, 5. Reference points are original or point of origin, negative 3. That means left by 3. 1, 2, 3, right there. And then up by 5 because positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. And that's going to be your E. Okay. And then for F, this is E because negative 3 is the X and this is Y. Now this is X and this is Y. 1. So reference points of origin 1. And then down by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. So that's going to be our F. Okay. So now we're going to join E and F. So let's use the straight edge. Okay, it's very important. We're going to use the straight edge. We're going to join them. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to make sure line it up right, and then I'm going to draw a straight line. Oops. Be careful, you don't move it. Okay, make sure, because it's very important, because we need to make sure the line is straight right there. Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. Now look at this. Is this a vertical or horizontal? Neither. It's neither. It's not a vertical or horizontal. That it's a slanted. It's a diagonal. That means what method we're going to use? Exactly, the triangle method, the right angle triangle. We're going to create a right angle triangle out of the EF. Okay, how do we do that? We take a vertical line from E down, and then we look for the intercept, and then horizontal line for the from F. All right, that's the intercept right there. See that? That makes a right angle. So it forms a triangle. So now we want to find the midpoint from E to the intercept here, and then F to the intercept, to the midpoints. All right, so let's start with the E to the mid intercept right there. So we since it's a vertical, we can find the distance. How? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can stop at the intercept. Okay, so 10. So to find the midpoint, what do? We take the distance, divide that by 2, which is 10 divided by 2, which is what? 5. So we're going to count from E5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. Okay, that's the midpoint for vertical. Okay, now let's look at the horizontal. What's the distance from horizontal? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1, 2 right there. Okay, that's the midpoint for the horizontal line. Now we want to locate the midpoint for the diagonal line. So that means I go straight vertical up and horizontal, okay, to the point, to the line. Okay, I go vertical up to the line, horizontal towards the line, and meets right here. That's the midpoint for EF. Okay, so that's the midpoint right there. Okay, so now let's find the coordinate for the midpoint for EF. Okay, now look at the midpoint. It's fall right on x-axis, and it's touching on where? -1. That means x is -1. Whenever a point falls on x-axis, y is always what? 0. Y is 0. Y is 0. So the point, midpoint for EF is -1, 0. Alright? Okay, good. Now let's do problem D. Problem D, you're given point G is -2, -2, and H is 4, 2. Alright? So what's our first step? Let's plot them on the Cartesian plane. Alright? So let's do G first. So G is -2, -2. Always go to the reference point, which is the point of origin. Okay, -2. That means you're going to the left by 2, down by 2. See that? That's your point for G. Okay, G. And then H is 4, 2. So 4, 2, X, Y. That means right by 4, up by 2. Okay, right by 4. 1. So reference point is 0, 0, the origin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up by 2. 1, 2, right there. Okay. And that's your H. So we're looking for now that we're going to join the G and H, okay, or G and H. So let's line it up, and then we're going to find the midpoint. All right, so let's line them up right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, once we do that, and then we're going to just draw a straight line. Very important. Okay, line them up right. There we go. Okay, we joined it. So now we're going to find the midpoint for GH. So since it's not a vertical or horizontal, it's a diagonal line, so we're going to use what method? The triangle method. We're going to create a triangle. All right, so how do we do that? From this point we want to go that direction. All right, horizontally. Okay, so we're going to go horizontal that way, and then this one we go vertically down. So wherever it's intercept, that makes a triangle, and that's a right angle triangle. See that? That forms a triangle. Okay, good. So now we want to find the midpoint of this line and this line. Alright, so let's start with the horizontal, okay, from G to the intercept. So since it's horizontal, we can find the distance. How? By counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 1, 2, 3 right there. Okay, that's going to be the midpoint for G to the intercept. If you count this way also, it will be 3. See, 3, 3. Now what about this one? Vertical. Again, you can count the distance. 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1, 2. And that's the center point from H to the intercept of the two lines. Alright? So now we want to see where these 2 points meets up to this line. By how? By going vertical on this one, horizontal on that one. See that? When I come this way, touches right there. When I come that way, touches right there. That's my point. That's my midpoint for GH. Alright? So once I know that's the point, now I can find the coordinate. Alright? Now again, it's touching on the x-axis. See that? It's touching on 1. Touching on 1. Alright? X-axis. That means the x is 1 and y will be what? 0. Why is that? Because whenever a point is on the x-axis, y is always 0, because y is 0 all along this line. See that? Very good. So the midpoint for GH is 1, 0. Alright? Good. Alright, let's do problem number 2. So problem number 2, how about we do this? Let Mr. Mac erase the board, and then we'll do problem number 2, okay? So I'll have a fresh Cartesian plane on the board. Okay, I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, you're ready for problem number 2? Alright, let's do problem number 2. The problem number 2 says the midpoint of a straight line joining R, they give you the coordinate -2, 5 and S. They didn't give a coordinate for S, is T, but they gave you the coordinate for the midpoint, T, 0, 1. Find the coordinates of S. Okay, so this is problem number 2, okay? Now problem number 2, you're given the coordinate for R, which is -2, 5, but S they didn't give you, okay? So we're just going to put XY, alright? And they gave you the midpoint, okay? The midpoint, alright? So the midpoint, it's given as what? T, which is T, 0, 1. Alright? Okay, now let's plot them. Let's all plot the points that's provided, the coordinates, alright? Let's start with R. R is -2, 5. Okay, that's our reference point with its origin. -2. That means 2 to the left. 1, 2 right there. And then 5 up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the R. Okay, we're going to put R right there. S we don't know. But let's plot the midpoint, which is T, 0, 1. So 0 is X. That's right there. 0. And Y is 1. That means up right there. So that is the midpoint for T. Okay, we want to find the line, another point. So let's just draw a straight line. Okay, let's join them. We don't know where it's going to meet. We're just going to draw a line. All right, so we're just going to draw a line, straight line. All right, okay. So now we know this is the point right there. Okay. So remember, what are we going to do? We're going to draw a triangle, all right? So we're going to draw a triangle. We're going to go straight down, okay? So we're going to draw a straight line, all right? So we're going to straight line because we're going to create a triangle, but let's start with this one first. We're going to go down. We don't know where to stop, all right? I'm just going to draw straight. But I know that, see, this is the midpoint for R, and we don't know where's S going to be, all right? But this is the halfway. So if that's the halfway, if I go straight this way, all right, on horizontal, that touches to this line right there, on this line right here, and that's the halfway, or another word, for this R to wherever it's going to intercept. So this is the midpoint for R to the intercept wherever it is. We don't know yet. But if that is the midpoint, that means what's the distance? 1, 2, 3, 4. That means what's going to be 4 the other side, because it should be equal length. See that? If this is 4, it's going to be 4 over here. So we're going to count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. So that's going to be the intercept. So I'm going to put another line right here. See that? So now, if this is the intercept, that means it goes straight up right there. It touches right there. That's the point S. Does that make sense? Alright, so now we should able to label that point, which is S. So what's the coordinate for that? So you straight go to the x-axis and see where it's touching, 2. And straight go to use the horizontal to the y-axis and see where it's touching, -3. -3. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Okay, so let's review. Okay, let's recap. Alright, what we did. This is the information was provided for us. We're given R and we don't know S. We're looking for S because RS is the 2 points. And then we're told midpoint for RS is T, which is 0, 1. So what we did next? We plotted these 2 points into the Cartesian plane. Alright, so we plotted R, which is the -2, 5. Alright, this is -2, 5. Alright, and then we plotted T, which is 0, 1 right there. And there you go. And we know this line goes straight down, but we don't know where it stops. So that's why this is going to help us to find the midpoint for this line. Because when you go straight down, because we're going to create a triangle. So I draw a straight line down. And then I took this midpoint and used it as a reference to locate using the horizontal line, and where it touches this line is the midpoint for this. If this is midpoint, what is the distance? It's the half of the whole length. Okay, so half. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4. So if this is 4, I'm going to measure another 4 on this side. Once I measure this and this side 4, and then I draw a horizontal line. That horizontal line, when touches this line, is my S going to be. See that? So that's what I did. And touching right there. So S, once I know that's where it's intercepting, when I draw that horizontal line intercepting to this diagonal line, and that's my point S. So now I should be able to find the coordinate by going vertically up and see where it's touching at the x-axis, and horizontally see where it's touching at the y-axis. It touched at 2, and then this one intercept or touched at the -3. So S is 2, -3. See that? Pretty easy, isn't it? Alright, good. Alright, now let's do problem number 3. And again, let Mr. Mac erase the board and then get the Cartesian plane on the board, and then we'll do problem number 3. And I'll be back with you in a few seconds. Alright, my dear students, let's do problem number 3. Problem number 3 says, find the coordinate of the midpoint of M. Okay, let's write down. Okay, problem number 3. So you're given M, 10, 8, and then N, -8, -6. But look at that. The coordinates, they're big numbers. That's why they gave you a scale. Look at the scale they gave you. The scale is x-axis 1 to 2, y-axis 1 to 2. Alright, so let's do that. Let's put that scale right there. Okay, so that means this is our origin, center. That means each box represent what kind of unit? 2. That's how this 1 stands for 1 box. That 2 stands for, you start with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. See that? That's how the scale 1 to 2. Same thing with y. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That means each section, each segment, alright, going to represent 2, 2, 2, 2. That's why that 1 to 2. Okay? With the x-axis and y-axis. Alright, so same thing, you just reflect with a negative. Alright, so this case will be -2, -4, -6, -8, -10. Same thing, you reflect with a negative. Alright, -2, -4, -6, -8, and -10. Very important, alright? So now we should be able to plot those points. Alright, let's start with M. M is 10, 8. So 10. Positive 10, so that means going to the right 10, 8, right there. That's M. Can you imagine that if we were to use 1 to 1 scale, we're going to have a huge graph. Okay, Cartesian plane. See that? That's why scaling, reduce it down so that I can put so I can fit right into this board. Same thing in your worksheet, okay, in your paper, alright? That's why the purpose of scaling, so you can reduce it down and still able to locate the points. Alright? Okay, now, so we found M. M is 10, 8 is right there, because 10 positive, go to the right by 10, up by 8 positive. Now negative, now let's locate N point. N is -8, -6. That means this is X and this is Y. So left by 8, down by 6. Okay, so let's go left by 8 right there, down by 6 right there, and that's the N. And we're looking for what? The midpoint for MN. Okay, so let's take the straight edge and then let's join them. Let's join those 2 points, M and N. Alright, so let's make sure Mr. Mac got it lined up right. It's very important, okay? Lining them up right is very important, okay? So once I do that, okay, let's see. Okay, good. Let me line it up right. Okay, now, and then I can put a straight line. All right, there we go. So we want to find the midpoint. I dropped the straight edge. All right, that's okay. We won't need it again. Well, we may need it again. Okay, so there you go. It's a diagonal. All right. So it's not a vertical or horizontal. So that means what? We have to do what? Exactly. We got to use the triangle method. Okay, we're going to create a triangle, right angle triangle. So let's see if I have to start with. Let's see if I start M. My goal is to bring it down, vertically down, all right? If I go to the end point, horizontally, all right? So wherever is intercept, that creates the triangle, okay? So let's bring it vertically down and then horizontally to the right. It's intercepting right there. That makes a right angle right there, okay? See that? So that forms a triangle. So now we want to find the midpoint for this horizontal line and midpoint for the vertical line. All right, let's start with the horizontal, okay? Now we want to find the center point, the midpoint from M to the point of intercept. So how do we find the midpoint? We take the distance from N to this point of intercept, and then we divide that by 2. Okay, so let's find what's the distance. And you know that each segment represents what? 2 units, all right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So it came to 18. And we're going to divide that by 2. That way give you equal distance, all right? So I'm going to divide that by 2. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. So I want to count from this point to 9 that way, on this side 9. So both are same, all right? Because they both going to have same length, distance. So let's count 9. Okay, this is 2, 4, 6, 8. Now you know that this one is 2, and I need only 1. So I go very center of that. See that? Very center, that makes it 9. See that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. All right, that's right there. Now I'm going to find the midpoint for that one. Again, I want to find the distance from M to the point of intercept, right there. Okay, where the line is intercepting. So let's count 1, 2, because again this is also each section. Okay, it's 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. See that? 14. So I'm going to take 14, divide that by 2, give me 7. So now I'm going to count 7, either from here down this way or from here up. So both will give me 7. 7 makes 14. All right, so let's count 2, 4, 6, but this is 8. But I want to go to the very center because I only need 1. See, 2, 4, 6, 7, right there. All right, okay. So now I want to go straight up, vertically up, and horizontally this way towards this diagonal line and see where it's touching. All right, so let's use the straight edge. The one I dropped it. Okay, so I'm going to put it straight up. Okay, let's see, let me put it straight up right there. It's touching right there, and it's touching right there. Okay, that's where the midpoint for MN is, which is what? 1, the X is 1 and Y is 1. The X is 1, Y is 1. Because remember, this is 2, we took the very center of that. So which is, this is 2, this is 1. That's 1 right there. This is 2 and this is 1 right there. So 1, 1. The coordinate. So the center, the midpoint for MN is 1, 1. Okay, so that's the midpoint for line MN. Okay, good. All right, my dear students. Wow, that's a lot of problems there, all right? Good job, well done. I'm so proud of you. Oh my goodness, you learned so much in this lesson. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm very glad that you are my student. Mr. Max, very glad and very proud of you. And you are the best. And that's why Mr. Mac knew you deserved the best, and I only wanted to bring the best for you. And it is coming from the best. Well, here's Pablo. He's already telling us that it's time for quiz. And it's also the end of our lesson. And you learned a lot about coordinate. And make sure you understand really well in this lesson, because you're going to see this used a lot in your higher level of mathematics. So I want you to make sure you understand the coordinate system. Well, my dear students, have fun with the quiz, and I'll see you in the next lesson, and I'll be here waiting for you. Bye-bye.